I think that people see me as being quite delicate, which in the world of popular music and rock and roll, if you like, is anathema. It is the worst thing to be delicate and not to be this big macho whatever. So therefore, since flowers and any kind of nature is just connected with total whimpery, to some degree I fall into that bracket. But I think I have other things that help me scramble out of the pit.
All men have secrets and here is mine, so let it be known. For we have been through hell and high tide, I think I can rely on you. And yet you start to recoil, heavy words are so lightly thrown, but still I leap in front of a flying bullet for you. So what difference does it make? So what difference does it make? It makes none, but now you have gone, and you must be looking very old tonight. The devil will find work for idle hands to do. I stole and I lied, and why? Because you asked me to. But now you make me feel so ashamed, because I've only got two hands. Well, I'm still fond of you. So what difference does it make? Oh, what difference does it make? Oh, it makes none, but now you have gone, and your prejudice won't keep you warm tonight. Oh, the devil will find work for idle hands to do. I stole and then I lied just because you asked me to. But now you know the truth about me, you won't see me anymore. Well, I'm still fond of you. But no more apologies. No more apologies. I'm too tired, I'm so sick and tired, and I'm feeling very sick and ill today. But I'm still fond of you.
I went to a very threadbare school, a very a school which it ultimately got some global attention for being the most brutal school in the country, capital punishment. You virtually didn't have to do a thing to be persistently whipped. It was really quite an absurd school, and working class, the only thing that you could possibly do was woodwork, and obviously when you left school you would go into a factory or something. There was no question of being artistic or of reading books or of thinking about anything specific. I used to write furiously, and I was just really nailed to the typewriter, and I was swimming in paper and all kind of introspective things like that. I wasn't exactly your average teenager. I really had no options. I mean, I was living the kind of life, I was unemployed for a very long time and I had no money. I was living a life to a large degree that I didn't choose, being financially absurdly embarrassed. So therefore I stayed in. I did nothing. I just wrote, and I was determined that if I couldn't have exactly what I wanted, then I would disappear into the woodwork. I was an ardent consumer from a very, very early age. I bought all the usual popular records of the 1960s. I seem to like everybody. For some obscure reason, I really was more impressed by the female voices, people like Sandy Shaw.
I walk along the city streets, you used to walk along with me. And every step I take recalls how much in love we used to be. Oh, how can I forget you when there is always something there to remind me? Always something there to remind me.
Cilla Black. Marianne Faithfull. And I seem to like them more so than the groups, which I always thought was really quite strange until I later met other people who felt exactly the same way. The first live gig I saw was T-Rex in 1972, which was, again, very, very passionate, but it didn't last very long with me. It was just something very brief.
If the Morrissey cult has any real threat, then it's from the guitar cult, which is increasingly growing around the young man who writes the Smiths' tunes. His name, Johnny Marr.
I'd say my style is influenced by basically American and English folk guitar.
I seem to remember that kind of music, Johnny.
That sort of thing, yeah. Well, basically because there's a lot of space to fill with Smith stuff, especially live. I just take it and sort of try a little bit more aggressively and go. As well as that, there's a bit of the old. There is a Sam Phillips kind of son influence in a lot of what we do.
The old rock and roll,
such as, yeah, the kind of rockabilly-ish kind of that kind of thing.
Those are the influences which have made the guitar fashionable again, Johnny, but I bet you can't tell me where the melodies come from.
The answer is, I don't know, really.
That's what Mozart used to say, you know.
Good old Mozart. Hit guy.
There's a few of us lived in one street and a few of us lived in another street, so every weekend there'd be a big sort of get-together of some sort of shebang. And there was guitars around and accordions and harmonicas and stuff like that. So I guess really that's where the original sort of inspiration to play came from. The very first time I saw a guitar or toyed with the idea of actually blasting something out. I never wanted to sing and get drunk and generally make merry. For me, I like to just be a little bit more melodic. And I do try and incorporate every influence, including non-guitar influences. Certain guitar parts that I write, I do try and sort of imitate what a piano player would vamp, for instance. It can be approached as a folk instrument, and the fact that you're playing it through a Marshall stack or boogies or whatever shouldn't make too much difference to one's technique.
This week saw a rare appearance in London by the Manchester band The Smiths. They were at the venue in Victoria and the place was absolutely packed. Frenzied excitement even led to a rather good-natured stage invasion by fans at one point. Things have been looking very good for The Smiths since their debut single Hand in Glove last March. Breakthrough, by the way, were the first to play it, you may remember. It's still selling well. And as Mike Lambert found out when he talked to lead singer Morrissey, the band aimed for the top right from the start.
We really wanted simply to make very crucially important moves, and anything that was simply to pass the night away was really of no value to us. I think you really have to start how you plan to go on, and if you really begin with a very low attitude, then you just remain there, and if you go on the pub circuit, you're there for life. I think you really have to know what you want, and once you do, you're kind of halfway towards having it. You really have to be determined, and you have to know what you're going to grab. And I feel that we've been that way all along, and it's really worked for us in every single respect.
Including, of course, the first thing, which was Hand in Glove on Rough Trade. Were you surprised at the success of that?
It's been successful in one way. It's been very, very successful. But in another way, I really believe it should be a national hit, and I can't see any reason why it shouldn't be. But obviously, I'm pleased that so many people know about it, and people write and say that it's changed their lives or whatever, and it's sold very well, so I have to be pleased.
Hand in glove, the sun shines out of our behinds. No, it's not like any other love. This one is different because it's love. Hand in glove, we can go wherever we please, and everything depends upon how near you stand to me. And if the people stare, then the people stare. We don't know and we don't care. Hand in glove, the good people laugh. Yes, we may be hidden by rags, but with something they'll never have. Hand in glove, the sun shines out of our behinds. Yes, we may be hidden by rags, but with something they never have. And if the people stare, then the people stare. No, we don't know and we don't care.
I remember when we were in the rehearsal rooms, every time we were playing the track, or any time we were playing that material, very early material, it sounded great, but we never kind of actually heard what the Smiths sounded like. We did a few little rehearsals and we'd tape those, but it was just in a tiny little rehearsal room. So when we recorded Hand in Glove, it was absolutely massive, because it was the first time that we'd been able to hear what the Smiths sounded like. And also, it was an opportunity for Johnny to put an extra guitar on as well.
Probably never see you again. I'll probably never see you again. I'll probably never see you again.
I remember when we first had Hand in Glove, because that came first, I remember looking at the record and thinking, I'm on this. There's my name, Mike Joyce, the drums. And I thought, well, that's it. How fantastic is that? How cool is that? Because also, I think people tend to forget that. I remember we did our first interview, and it wasn't Morrissey, it was a guy called Stephen from Stretford. That's all I knew him as, really. And it was something that, obviously, we knew kind of where he was coming from, and we knew where his head was at, and we heard how great Johnny was, and could hear how great Andy was. But in terms of what he was going to bring to the table over the coming years, wasn't really that apparent, because we hadn't done that much work together. But the first record is always the most important, I think.
Why do you call yourself the Smiths?
Why do we call ourselves the Smiths? We call ourselves the Smiths because you decided we were called the Smiths.
And I decided because it was the most ordinary name. And I think it's time that the ordinary folk of the world showed their faces.
Hey everybody, welcome to a brand new album deep dive series. Today I am going to be talking about one of my favorite British bands of the 1980s, the Smiths. And this album series is actually dedicated to one of my best friends in the vinyl community, Josh from Flipside Vinyl. who happens to be a huge Smiths fan like myself. This album, their debut self-titled album, was released on February 20th, 1984, and it happens to be my least favorite album in their discography. Now, I'm not saying it's a bad album, but in general, it's a lot more stripped down. The performances are not quite as confident as they would be on subsequent albums. The songwriting is not quite up to the expectations, up to the standards that we would come to expect from the Smiths. And truthfully, the Smiths were more of a singles band than they actually were an album band. Their albums don't quite hang together like some of their contemporaries, but the Smiths nonetheless were unquestionably one of the greatest bands of the 1980s. Guitarist Johnny Marr and singer-lyricist Stephen Morrissey met at a Patti Smith show in 1978 when Marr was 14 and Morrissey 19. In 1982, Marr showed up at Morrissey's doorstep unannounced to invite him to join a band he was forming with his friend Steve Pomfret, who played bass. The pair quickly became close friends, bonding over a shared love of poetry, literature, and music, particularly the glam rock band the New York Dolls. Morrissey agreed to join the group, and the trio held their first rehearsal a few days later in Marr's attic apartment. Pomfret quit the band, and an acquaintance of Marr, Dale Hibbert, was recruited to play bass. Hibbert was employed at Decibel Recording Studios in Manchester, and through this connection, the band were able to record their first demo in August of 1982. They recorded Suffer Little Children, and The Hand That Rocks the Cradle with stand-in drummer Simon Wollstonecroft. Morrissey took the demo to Factory Records, but the label showed no interest. In the meantime, they held auditions for a permanent drummer and hired Mike Joyce. The Smiths gave their first public performance in October 1982 as part of an art and fashion show in Manchester. Dissatisfied with Hibbert's bass playing, Marr invited childhood friend Andy Rourke to play bass. The band recorded a second demo in December of 1982, containing the songs What Difference Does It Make and Miserable Lie. The demo was shopped to EMI, but again it was rejected. At a concert in London, the Smiths attracted the attention of BBC producer John Walters, who invited them to perform on John Peel's Radio 1 program. Largely due to the exposure from these performances, the band were signed to Rough Trade Records and recorded their first album with Travis Tate of the new wave band Teardrop Explodes as producer. Rough Trade were unhappy with the results, and the album was re-recorded with producer John Porter. Now, none of the Smiths had been in the studio before when they came to record this album, so they were all novices. And it didn't help matters that Morrissey refused to re-record any of his vocals or do any overdubbing for the album. So what you have is really kind of a stripped-down aesthetic on this record, which doesn't necessarily suit the band all that well. I'm a huge fan of their next album, Meat is Murder, which I feel is an enormous leap from this record, but nonetheless, it's still a satisfying debut. So let's get into the songs on this record. The album opens with Reel Around the Fountain, which could easily be interpreted as a song about pedophilia. However, Morrissey has insisted that that is not the case. The song, in any event, is about the loss of innocence. It has all of the classic Smiths elements here, a melodramatic Morrissey vocal, jangly 60s style guitar strumming from Marr, and a tight rhythm held together by Rourke and Joyce. In spite of the band not wanting to use session musicians, Paul Carrack plays piano on this track.
It's time the tale we're told of how you took a child and you made him old. It's time the tale we're told of how you took a child and you made him old. You made him old. Wheel around the fountain, slap me on the patio, I'll take it now.
You've Got Everything Now satirizes pop stars who crave fame and wealth, and you can even interpret it as a bit of self-deprecating humor when Morrissey talks about never having a job because he never wanted one, and being his mother's only son and a desperate one. An up-tempo tune with great jangly guitar and an effective falsetto vocal from Morrissey at the end of the choruses. Miserable Lie opens as a slow melodic pop song, but quickly shifts gears into a fast, somewhat pedestrian punk rock workout. It works for me until Morrissey breaks into falsetto, and at that point, it just becomes a bit grating for me. I'm not a huge fan of this particular song, and it's probably the weakest track on the record for me. Pretty Girls Make Graves is one of my favorite tracks on the album. Morrissey plays with traditional gender roles in this song, as the lyrics are about a sexually aggressive female and her male lover who timidly rebuffs her advances. Lines like, "She wants it now and she will not wait, but she's too rough and I'm too delicate," are Morrissey at his best, and I wonder if they aren't also a little bit semi-autobiographical. There's more melodic guitar from Marr and an effective falsetto vocal on the chorus from Morrissey that make this one of the standout songs.
Up on the sand, up on the bay, there is a quick and easy way, you say, before you illustrate, I'd rather stay. I'm not the man you think I am, I'm not the man you think I am, and sorrow's nature's son, he will not smile for anyone, and pretty girls may cry. End of the pier, end of the bay, you tug my arm and say, give in to lust, give up to lust, oh, heaven knows we'll soon be dust. Oh, I'm not the man you think I am, I'm not the man you think I am, and sorrow's nature's son, he will not rise for anyone, and pretty girls may cry.
Oh, really?
I could have been wild and I could have been free, but nature played this trick on me. She wants it now, and she will not wait, but she's too rough and I'm too delicate. Then on the sand, another man, he takes her hand, a smile lights up her stupid face, and well it would. I lost my faith in womanhood, I lost my faith in womanhood, I lost my faith.
Hand That Rocks the Cradle is a bit redundant in my opinion. This was one of the first songs Morrissey and Marr wrote, and the arrangement is based on the Patti Smith song Kimberly. There's no deviation from the simple guitar melody or discernible chorus except when Morrissey sings the line, "As long as the hand that rocks the cradle is mine." The lyrics are difficult to decipher, and the song goes on a little too long for my taste. This charming man did not appear on the original UK release, but I think it works well as the side 2 opener on the North American version. The song was the band's second single and has one of the most exuberantly joyful arrangements of any Smith song.
You know, I came up with these just a simple chord change. Like, so you've got that chord as a basis, and then on top of it I'm going.
opening lyric, punctured bicycle on a hillside desolate, has to be one of the most unusual yet beautifully descriptive lines ever written in a 3-minute pop song.
Punctured bicycle on a hillside desolate. Will nature make a man of me yet? When in this charming car, this charming man, why pamper life's complexity when the leather runs smooth on the passenger seat? I would go out tonight, but I haven't got a stitch to wear. This man said it's gruesome that someone so handsome should care. A jumped up country boy who never knew his place. He said, return the ring. He knows so much about these things. He knows so much about these things.
Still Ill is a song about entitlement with a brilliant opening line. I decree today that life is simply taking and not giving. England is mine and it owes me a living. And it moves into lyrics about someone disillusioned with love and insecure in their own sexuality. I love the opening effect with the heavily mic'd drums and guitar strumming. Some of Marr's most sophisticated melodic playing on the album. Great melodramatic singing from Morrissey on the choruses. They would add a harmonica when they performed the song on the John Peel program, which I actually kind of prefer that version. Hand in Glove, of course, was the band's first single, and Morrissey and Marr wanted to be regarded as legitimate songwriters like Elton John and Bernie Taupin and Lennon and McCartney, so they approached one of their favorite British pop singers, Sandie Shaw, and persuaded her to cover the song, with the Smiths providing the arrangement. What Difference Does It Make has a killer circular guitar riff and a classic Morrissey lyric of a toxic relationship where the subject of the song obsessively goes to extreme lengths to prove his worth to a lover who will never reciprocate. I Don't Owe You Anything is a beautiful pastiche of breezy 60s pop with a crooning vocal from Morrissey and beautiful guitar strumming from Marr. The opening lyric, Bought on Stolen Wine, says so much in so few words. I adore this song.
Bought on stolen wine, a nod was the first step. You knew very well what was coming next. Bought on stolen wine, oh, a nod was the first like I do, just like I do. But did I really walk all this way just to hear you say, oh, I don't want to go out tonight. Oh, I don't want to go out tonight, but you will, for you must. I don't owe you anything, no, but you owe me something. Repay me now.
Suffer Little Children is a song about the infamous Moors murders. Between July 1963 and October 1965, 5 children were sexually assaulted and murdered by British couple Ian Brady and Myra Hindley in and around Manchester. Morrissey references the names of 3 of the victims in this song, Leslie Ann, Edward, and John. The song has a mournful and subdued arrangement and fitting with the theme of the lyrics, and is a chilling way to close out the album.
Over the moor, take me to the moor, dig a shallow grave and I'll lay me down. Over the moor, take me to the moor, dig a shallow grave and I'll lay me down. Leslie Ann and your pretty white beads, oh John, you'll never be a man, and you'll never see your home again. Oh, Manchester, so much to answer for. Edward, see those alluring lights. Tonight will be your very last night. A woman said, I know my son is dead. I'll never rest my hands on his sacred head. Hindley waits and Hindley says, Hindley waits, Hindley wakes, Hindley wakes and says, oh, wherever he has gone, I have gone. But fresh lilac, moorland fields cannot hide the stolid stench of death. Fresh lilac, moorland fields cannot hide the stolid stench of death. Hindley waits and says, Hindley wakes, Hindley wakes, Hindley wakes and says, oh, whatever he has done, I have done. But this
So that's my impressions of the Smiths' debut. Let me know what you think. How does it rank for you in their catalog? Are you a Smiths fan? I know they're a very polarizing group. You've got Morrissey with his very flamboyant persona, which kind of turns people off, but there's no denying that musically, the Smiths were as solid and as tight a band as any in 80s rock and roll. All right, everybody, take care. Hope you're enjoying this series, and have a great one.